On Friday night has been shifted to Thursday morning as far as markets are concerned, Tanya.
Absolutely, Shail, and we discussed Nifty, Bank Nifty, global markets, but FNO space as well. There's a lot happening there also. So what are you looking in at FNO space today?
So, Tanya, you very rightly pointed out the action is really in the FNO space, and it's the banking stocks that are taking it away. Let's start with a small private sector bank, and the PCR will draw the daily chart of Federal Bank in front of you. It's a record high, 141 that you see on the charts. And like I said, it was the banking stocks that took up the baton early in trade yesterday, and both private sector banks, Federal and Axis, performed very well. Let's hit upon Federal first, 4% higher, and you see the fantastic green candle that is there in front of you, a fresh record high coming in, fairly strong open interest, 2.5% higher. And of course, the delivery statistics are 50% more on Wednesday compared with Tuesday. So this is something that you need to look at. Remember, a low ticket item which is high beta, which is a small price point, somewhere like 100, 150, and a high beta stock that moves very rapidly is what traders prefer. Now you have the tailwind in the form of a nice sectoral move on banking. So look at Federal Bank. Of course, let it sort of come down a bit, because buying it at 4% higher would be a bit difficult if it opens gap up again after yesterday's stunning move. So Federal Bank is something you should be looking at. Axis Bank, again a blowout performance. You'll see the chart right in front of you. 4 days of successive moves coming in on Axis Bank, and as the chart shows, we'll see a move again towards 4 digits. 980 is where the stock settled as far as the open interest trade was concerned. It was Nifty's top gainer, 2.3% higher, and it's the short covering here. Like I mentioned, all frontline banking stocks are showing short covering, which basically means that the bears are moving away. They are covering their short positions, and that itself is a trigger for an up move. The open interest fell by about 5.5%, and of course it's a frontline counter, so there wasn't much rise in volumes, deliveries, but still a 30% pick. And of course the star of the day yesterday was Hindustan Aeronautics. Remember, we'll touch upon a lot of stocks which has contributed to this fantastic performance of ISRO yesterday, the landing on the moon by Chandrayaan 3, and Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, India's premier defense play, was a major contributor to ISRO's move. Remember, the whole project of ISRO for this Chandrayaan 3 was somewhere like 620 crore rupees, but all the companies that are listed and have contributed to this fantastic performance and this great achievement have shown very strong traction. Hindustan Aeronautics is one of them. Very super bullish chart here, 3.6% higher. And remember, the stock is now changed its leftmost digit. It was sub 4,000 in so many days ago, and now it's in fresh bull territory. The problem that we face in a bull market is that stocks have high tickets, but what can one say? But at 4,029 on futures, the open interest is 10% higher. So we look at the entire defense theme throughout the day, and Hindustan Aeronautics is right at the top. So these are the 3 or 4 stocks, Tanya, I am looking on the long side. But remember, don't chase the gap up. Let the first 1 hour settle down, and then we'll see how markets are placed. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. So that was FNO data for you, but we also have with us our market expert right now. We have with us Mr. Avinash Gorakhshakar. He's the head of research at Profit Mart Securities. Thank you so much, Avinash, and very good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us here on Business Today Television. So India is, on the moon, and it is one of the biggest milestones for India. So how do you see this development, for the Indian markets and for India? And where are the markets headed now? especially, Shail mentioned previously that we have seen 2 weeks of consolidation on the last trade. So what's next?
Yeah, good morning, Tanya, and good morning, Shailendra. See, I think yesterday's event by Chandrayaan 3 landing on the moon is a historic event for every Indian, and all of us are pretty proud. Most importantly, as Shailendra mentioned, there are many companies which contributed to the success of Chandrayaan 3. I think you're going to see a lot of action in these companies. Specifically, if you were to name a few, it could be Hindustan Aeronautics, MTR Technologies, Bharat Electronics. So I think the markets are going to open on a positive gap up opening kind of note. Most importantly, I would believe that after a very strong phase of consolidation, a little bit of underperformance, I think the markets are now getting back into the value creation mode. You would be seeing selective buying across sectors, and we are pretty positive on sectors like railway infra themes, typically the defense theme, and obviously the capital goods and the auto theme. So these are sectors where a lot of stocks are presenting good opportunities. I think the investor needs to give in a little more time and patience. Obviously risk reward would come in over a period of time.
Good morning, Avinash, and it's such a pleasure to have you back on Business Today Television Market Today on this fine Thursday morning when a lot of short covering moves, long build-ups will see a nice green tick on the Nifty. Tanya and I were discussing that the party was yesterday at ISRO's headquarters, and on the moon, the after party will be on the markets today. Some stocks that you are looking at based on your wide experience and the understanding of the markets, logistically speaking, where do you think is value still to be had, and what are the stocks that you would like to add to your portfolio at this juncture for the long term?
Yeah, I think Shailendra, we like two companies. One is from the railway infra theme. We like RVNL. Our sense is that the company enjoys a very strong order book of almost 50,000 crores plus. And I think if you look at the kind of performance the company has delivered in the last financial year, they generated a revenue of a little over 20,000 crores, a profit after tax of 1,400 crores. The first quarter has also been equally good. And I think looking at the management commentary plus the L1 orders, which are already likely to be fructified into actual confirmed orders, our sense is that the coming year could see a profit of almost 1,650 to 1,700 crores. And I think the risk reward looks pretty decent. I think the company made an OFS recently, but I think the stock now looks pretty stabilized at around 120, 124 odd levels. Our sense is that this could be a good portfolio pick for a 12 to 15-month time frame, wherein we look at a price target of around 155 to 160. The other stock which is already in the limelight is Bharat Electronics. We feel that Bharat Electronics is one of those shares, Shell, where the stock is comparatively undervalued as compared to the other defense companies. The stock trades at around 130, 33. And I think not only have they contributed in a meaningful way for Chandrayaan 3, I think the order book of almost 45 to 50,000 crores, a debt-free balance sheet, and a very good scalable model makes us believe that this is one stock where one must definitely have it in their portfolio, because defense is a very long multi-year theme. We believe the next 2 to 3 years would be extremely strong for BL. And our sense is that around a price target of 170, 175 is very much possible. So I think in this kind of market, when valuations have gone up, the markets are going to open on a gap up note. I think these are two companies where the risk reward is still in the favor of investors, and these should definitely be added in your portfolio.
Right, and here is Avinash's deep experience coming to the fore. Remember, he's chosen two very high beta counters in the price zone that traders and investors really prefer, sub 150. 2 points I want to mention: both RVNL and BEL, specifically BEL, are at record levels. So due caution is to be exhibited while purchasing this, should you wish to, in your portfolios. Of course, follow the SIP method, that buy into small chunks, not one quantity that you wish to add, so that you can average prices if the stock goes lower. And yes, BEL has been a relative underperformer in the defense space. If you look at the way how Masdog, Garden Reach, Cochin Shipyard have surged, BEL has been a quiet achiever, still at a record high, and that's the reason perhaps what Avinash feels that you'll see a sustained uptick based on the performance. A couple of numbers here. Trailing 12-month revenue for BEL was 18,120 crores. Trailing 12-month earnings were 3,150 crores. It's a debt-free government PSU in the defense space. Cash on the balance sheet is about 8,100 crores and it's available at a PE of 31. That's what is BEL. A couple of points, Avinash, on RVNL. Do you think that the government's stake and the fact that it has to raise funds periodically to meet its expenses, the OFS or the QIP from the government side, if it happens on government PSUs, could be a dampener for RVNL in the short term?
Yeah, I think Shail, in the short term it could be a dampener, but in case of RVNL, already an OFS has got completed. So I think now scope for any further kind of negative surprise, specifically on the OFS side, remains rather limited. And I think the best part is railway infra theme is gaining very strong traction. The government and especially the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has clearly specified that railway safety, railway infrastructure is going to be a key focus area for the next 3 to 5 years. So I think in that perspective, RVNL is on a very strong note. Most importantly, it's got orders more than 50,000 crores, which gives us the feeling that next 2 years, at least the revenue visibility is assured. They've been operating at decent margins. So I think the OFS factor may not play out immediately. As of now, I think it looks to be pretty well positioned, over the next, say, couple of years.
Yes, and it is this chart that signifies what probably Avinash is wanting to say. Over the last 3 months, the stock is consolidating in this 115 to 130 band. And while this is a record high for the stock, but the real pump move is yet to come. Again, the same set of cautions that you should see. Don't buy in one lot, buy in chunks. Buy over a period of time so that you average the price should it fall. A PE of just 18 on RVNL, 12-month earnings are about 1466 crores, and the top line that I see is somewhere like 21,200 crores. So these are the two stocks that Avinash hopes to add in his portfolio, BEL and RVNL. These are two government PSUs doing already fantastically well on the markets. Tanya.
Absolutely, Shail. And since we are talking about Chandrayaan-3 mission only, so I think we should discuss it with Avinash about the companies, that contributed to this mission and the companies that are behind this successful mission, such as MTAR Technologies. So MTAR Technologies, if you see, it made core parts of the rocket engines and core pumps of engines required for takeoff. So I want you to talk about MTAR Technologies, Avinash. I mean, how do you see this development for this particular counter, and what's really next for this stock?
No, I think, Tanya, as far as MTAR Technologies is concerned, see, this is one of the very well-established players which operates in the space and nuclear, sectors. Our sense is that, the company has a very good order book and which would give it a reasonable visibility over the next 12 to 18 months. In terms of the risk reward for the stock, I think, the stock has risen quite significantly. So today you may see a sentimental booster for the stock, but thereafter at higher levels, I would suggest that, it's better to be a little cautious because most of these companies have already, discounted the Chandrayaan-3 factor. So I think today you might see a little bit of selling at higher levels. But yes, longer term, any correction in the stock is a good opportunity to accumulate. Our sense is that, the company enjoys a very strong competitive moat, a very strong balance sheet, a very strong order book, which actually helps us believe that over the next, say, 1 to 2 years, performances could be even much better.
Right, Tanya. Pre-open is with us, and so is Rajesh Palvia from Axis Securities. He's a very well-known chartist, but let's first look at the rates. And as I had said, the after party has started. Tanya, welcome Rajesh to the panel. 100-point uptick, 19,550 for you on the Nifty. Let it settle down, and let's look at stocks. First and foremost, Reliance Industries, 1.7% higher, 2565. Second of all, HDFC Bank flat 1587. Infosys 1% higher 1422. TCS is flat at 3400. Let's look at what other banks are doing. I want to see what ICICI is doing. 0.3% higher 970. How about Axis Bank? 0.7% higher 985. So Reliance and Infosys, the two of the three highest weighted index stocks, are in the green. HDFC Bank is flat, which is not a problem, but ICICI, Axis, Infosys and TCS in the green, and that's the reason for an 100-point uptick on the Nifty in pre-open trades. A couple of FNO stocks I'll look, and then we'll go to Rajesh immediately. Contributors to the moon mission: Tanya, BHEL 3% higher 113. Hindustan Aeronautics is taking it away. Remember, it makes India's entire air force, and that's 3% higher, flying very high, fresh record high 41.49. Let's look at other defense plays that are doing very good. I need to know what BEL is doing. 1.2% higher 134.75. How about MTAR Tech? It's an unbelievable number, Sakshi. It's 20% higher, fresh record high 26.64. Obviously we'll check these numbers a little later, but as I had pointed out, the after party has started on Dalal Street, and as good a time as any to welcome Mr. Rajesh Palvia, who watches charts and derivatives data at Axis Securities. Welcome, Rajesh. What a great day to have you, and where do you think Nifty is headed?
Good morning, Shailji. Good morning, everyone. So yes, it's a great day as we have launched successfully Chandrayaan-3. It's a proud moment for all citizens of India, and the party is going on. The cheer factor will also play out in our market also, and the same kind of behavior we are seeing in the GIFT Nifty. 100-point uptick is there on the pre-opening session. So if at all Nifty opens around 19,550 level, then possibly another 40-50 point up move can be there in the market, because the major call concentration was at around 19,500 strike, and they have to cover their position if we start open around 19,550 zone. So 19,600 is the key supply zone for this today's weekly expiry. So we don't see Nifty to cross 19,600 on a closing basis. Some supply pressure would be there. So if at all, if we open around those levels, so another 40-50 point, one can take a quick trade. But again, we are projecting that Nifty may settle around 19,550 for this expiry today. So, but yes, stock specific action will be there. That is very interesting to see in the market. A lot of stocks related to this mission are going to get some thumbs up by the market participant, and the stock, like as you pointed out, BHEL, BEL, HL, MTAR Tech, all these stocks are going to get more buying interest post this opening. So one needs to focus on this Chandrayaan mission related stock, as well as the other stocks where we have seen the breakout in the previous session. On the Bank Nifty, the setup is positive. 44,400 is the important level to watch for. If we hold those levels, then next target for Bank Nifty towards 44,800 in the continuation of this uptrend. So hold your position with stop loss of 44,400 after the today's opening.
Okay, absolutely. So these are the levels that are coming in. But what about your top bets, Mr. Palvia? I mean, where are the pockets of opportunities, and which are the, top bets that you are betting on today?
So first stock is from the banking space, that is Bandhan Bank. Very strong buying action in the previous session. Long built up was clearly there. Stock managed to view breakout of its last 4-5 days consolidation zone. And looking at the overall setup for Bandhan Bank, we expect that this stock can continue furthermore upside from the current level, and possibly we can see a target of 250 on the higher side. So one can buy Bandhan Bank with stop loss of 230. The second stock which we like, that is from real estate space, that is Godrej Property. Now stock is trading about to 50-day moving average. If we look at the daily setup, stock managed to give breakout of its falling trend line 3-week, 2-week consolidation breakout is already there on the chart. In the previous session, there was a long built up. So looking at the overall setup for Godrej Property, we expect that stock can scale up to the level of 1640, 1650 on the higher side. One can buy with stop loss of 1560. And the third stock that is clearly linked with this Chandrayaan mission, that is BEL. Very strong setup on the BEL. And we expect that 143 could be the possible target on the higher side. So one can buy with stop loss of 128.
Right. That's how the trade is positioned. Second thumbs up coming in for BEL, technically as well as fundamentally. And let's see how it's opened. It's about 1.3% higher. Remember, this is a record high, 135. So abundant caution if you are an investor, and if you're a trader, just be very careful on the long side. Defense plays, Tanya, MTAR, as well as the ISRO move. It's now settled to a sensible level, 8.5% higher, 2412. What else is buzzing in the defense related space, which ISRO has a kick in? 11% higher on Paras Defense, 802. Hindustan Aeronautics, 2.5% higher, 4135. Let's look at what else is moving in the high beta space, because that's the thing that defines sentiment. Suzlon 4% higher, 2275. Paytm 2.5% higher, 926. BHEL 1.8% higher, 111.15. Rajesh, coming to you first on BHEL. Remember, a blowout happened in price and volume 2 days ago. Yesterday the counter took a pause and the rally is now continuing. What are the charts telling you on BHEL?
So Shalji, if I'm not wrong, the stock is in ban period for F&O, so there was some pause in the stock prices. But looking at the overall setup for BHEL, yes, we do expect that the kind of breakout which we have seen in the weekly chart, it clearly indicates that this stock may scale up to the 118 to 120 in the continuation of this uptrend. So overall, the structure is bullish. One should remain on the long side. Keep your stop losses at around 108 and hold your position for upside target of 120.
Okay, absolutely. And let's discuss, Hindustan Aeronautics as well. So the company worked on development of lander and key mechanical support equipments for the successful Chandrayaan 3 mission, Mr. Palvia. So what do the technical charts suggest for this particular counter?
Kind of run up which we are seeing in the HL, it's looking that stock is moving towards the moon only, and there is no stopping for the stock. Stock is continuously showing higher top, higher bottom formation, very strong price action in the daily as well as on the weekly time frame. The kind of breakout which we have witnessed in the previous session, it clearly indicates that this rally can extend towards 4200 also. So those who are holding this position, keep trailing your stop losses. That very strong chart structure across all time frame. So we are holding our bullish view. Buy and dip should be your strategy, but I don't think stock will give you any opportunity to correct in a bigger way. So whatever minor dips you are getting in this stock should be used as a buying opportunity. 4200 is the immediate target which we are projecting on the stock. Keep your stop loss now at around 4050.
Absolutely. And also, since we are talking about the companies, behind this successful mission, let's talk about Mishra Dhatu Nigam as well, Mr. Palvia, and let's take a technical check for this particular counter. So for our viewers, I just want to mention this, that it provided, critical materials such as cobalt and nickel base alloys and special steel for various components for this mission. So what do the technical charts suggest for this stock, Mr. Palvia?
So this is the fifth consecutive month where stock is forming higher high-low formation, and very strong setup. Stock is almost trading near to it's enjoying its all-time high trajectory. So looking at the breakout on the daily, weekly, monthly time frame, it clearly indicates that this rally can extend further also. And 445, 460 could be the upside target on the higher side. So those who are holding the position, they can now trail their stop loss at around 405 and hold your long position.
Tanya, I'd like to check one stock both with Avinash and Rajesh. Rajesh, you first. L&T. This has been one of the quietest overachievers, which does not tom-tom what it does for India's defense and space work. Fresh record high here, Rajesh. Very difficult to chase momentum at such levels, 2752. But you go first. Tell us what you think of L&T.
So one of the quality large cap stock which is moving, in an uptrend. This is the third consecutive year where we are seeing, sustained really in the stock, and the kind of up move which we have witnessed during this calendar year. It clearly indicates that, this stock is going to achieve the level of 3,000 also. For trading point of view, 2820 is the immediate target which we are expecting for the stock. But on a positional basis, 3,000 is possible for L&T on the higher side. So those who have already bought or buying at current level, your stop loss should be at around 2690. Target is 2780, 2820.
Right. Your shot on this lovely moonshot stocks, Avinash, L&T. Remember, in the index heavyweights today, L&T is the top gainer at 1.3% in pre-open trades. Fresh record high. Avinash.
No, I think I would also concur with Rajesh in the sense that, see, I think 3,000 rupees has been the buyback price which L&T has announced. So I think as the buyback, date approaches, I would not be surprised that, the stocks like L&T would obviously gather further momentum. I think in terms of their business model, Shell, one is very encouraged to know that they also have a very large presence in the defense space, in the infrastructure space, and obviously the capital goods space. So I think you're going to see a lot of traction in terms of execution, in terms of new order inflow. So I would also believe that, maybe 2600, 2650 was a good level to buy. But even if one were to buy at these levels, I would believe that, over the next, say, 12 to 15 months, this is definitely a stock which should be there in your portfolio. A price target of at least 2950 to 2975 in the very near term looks possible. And thereafter, I think as order inflows come in, as the commentary from the management comes in, you could expect further re-rating. So there's no doubt that FY24 is going to be a lot better compared to last year.
Right. And this is the conundrum of the bull market, how to buy at record levels. The first thing you should do is that if you are invested in such stocks in the defense space already, please do not exit. A bull market also rises due to the lack of liquidity and supply of stock and scarcity of quality stock. So first and foremost, if you are in stocks like MTAR, stocks like BEL, stocks like L&T, BEML, Midhani to some extent, please do not exit. Hold them for a longer period of time, and of course use all dips as buy opportunities based on targets and stop losses that our technical panel suggests. Let me again go through the pre-open trade. Tanya, the after party has started. Nifty settled 91 points higher at 19,535. Remember, now short covering will kick in because today's weekly expiry day, and all those shorts which were there in the last 4 weeks of pain, consolidation and downtick are likely to be removed from the system. What are the gainers? Index heavyweight, Reliance Industries 1% higher, 2549. Infosys 1% higher, 1422. HDFC flat at 1586. The prices have started to move. Nifty's opened 85 points higher, 19,517. Bank Nifty taking it away, 180 points higher, 44,650. Let's look at the heavyweights. Reliance 0.5% higher, 2534. What is Axis Bank doing? 0.3% higher, 983. ICICI Bank is 0.5% higher, 972. Infosys 0.7% higher, 1418. HDFC Bank in the green, 0.3% higher, 1591. It's going to be a very, very strong uptick today. 72 points higher, 19,516. Let's immediately move to F&O stocks and the ones that are the most active. Let's first look at them. There's been a block deal on Coforge, 26% stake sold by parent company at about 4,900 crore, 4,900 rupees. The stock is down a bit and it's the top traded counter, about 4,200 crore rupees traded immediately. Hindustan Aeronautics 1.3% higher. I want to see what MTAR is doing. MTAR is at 24.16, 9% higher. Paras Defense 15% higher, age 26. BEL picked up by both Avinash and Rajesh, 1.2% higher. What is Midhani doing? 4% higher, 424. This was marked by Tanya. BDL 1.3% higher, 1176. I want to see what L&T is doing. 1.5% higher, 2746. A great start to the day. Coming to you immediately, Rajesh. What do you want to do on the Nifty? Does 19,500 call for August 31 or maybe the next September weekly expiry look good to you?
Definitely. So I think if Nifty stay above 19,500 for next 10-15 minutes, then short covering will emerge in the market, and then possibly this can lead to the rally towards the 19,600 also that we are expecting. Even in the today's session also that level can be there. So one can, yes, definitely buy next week 19,500 strike call option that was trading at around 106 level. So 31st of August expiry call option one can buy for next 1 or 2 trading session. Keep your stop loss at around 75 rupees and upside target we are projecting for this call option around 140, 150. So 19,500 strike call option one can buy for next monthly expiry of 31st of August.
Right. Let's show Hindustan Aeronautics on the charts, and it's rising very, very sharply in front of us. Let's see the screen. Immediately, Rajesh, what are your feelings? Do you want to chase this momentum?
So there is no stoppage for the stock, though stock has already opened higher. If I get any chance to buy this stock around 4070, then yes, definitely I'll buy this stock, and my stop loss would be around 4050. And upside, as I mentioned also that 4150, 4200 could be the possible target. So very strong structure across all time frame. Yes, definitely one should look at to buy this stock if you get any 10-20 rupees down tick from the current level.
Okay, let's look at the broader markets now. A blowout is happening at least on the advanced decline ratio. 1200 stocks in the green, 800 in the red. What are the top gainers as far as indices are concerned? Nifty Metal 1% higher. Nifty PSU Banking Index 0.7% higher. Nifty IT Index 0.7% higher. And of course, the broader Nifty 500 0.5% higher at 17,041. Nifty and Bank Nifty in the green. We've just had the first 5 minutes of trade. Both indices have held on to their early gains, and let's see how it consolidates. As far as the FNO is concerned, it's an unbelievable amount of rally that's happening in mid-cap IT, infrastructure stocks such as Siemens, and of course the entire defense play. Tanya, what have you observed?
Absolutely, Shail. I think today it's going to be the day about the companies that contributed to the successful mission, and we have been talking about that. And one of the companies is Centum Electronics. Let's pull up that for you. It's up around 13% as we speak, and the company is a large component supplier. It made around 300 to 500 electronic parts for each mission. You can see the action on the screen. It's 12% higher as we speak. 1843 is the level where we are at. But I want to come to you, Mr. Palvia, first for this counter, that what's really next for this stock, because obviously we have seen this positive impact coming in because of the successful Chandrayaan-3 mission. But what's really next, and what do the technical charts suggest?
Very strong breakout. Stock is almost at all-time high trajectory now. The kind of gap up opening which we are seeing in the today's session, that has already given a breakout of its previous swing high. So looking at the chart structure, 1700, 1720 is the now key important level to watch for on the downside. If it's not breaks below those levels, then possibly furthermore, follow up buying we can see in the stock prices. Looking at the overall structure, yes, one can hold the long position as stock is already opened on with the upward gap. So nobody able to buy the stock in the opening, but those who are already holding the position of their lower side buying can hold the position with stop loss of 1740. And if stocks stay above 1800, then possibly this may move further higher towards 1900, 1920 also. So hold your position, those who have bought at the lower price.
Okay, absolutely. And let's pull up Bank Nifty for you. 720 is the level now, 241 points higher as we speak, 0.5% higher. What about you, Mr. Palvia? If we talk about Bank Nifty only, what should be the strategy for this particular index?
So Tanya, I believe that 44,800 that we were expecting is already there on the screen. So now some supply pressure may be there around these level, but the kind of broader market behavior is witnessing in the today's session. It clearly shows that if we crosses 44,800, then another round of short covering can be there in the market, and then 45,000 can be there on the screen also. As we are today is the weekly expiry day, so these kind of move can be there for the Bank Nifty also. So hold your long position if you are already in the trade on the long side. Now your stop loss for Bank Nifty should be at around 44,650, and possibly Bank Nifty may attempt to move further higher towards 45,000 also. So hold your position, book profits around 44,950, 45,000 level if it's move around those level.
Right, let's shift focus to Avinash. We have seen the first 5-7 minutes of trade. Remember, both indices Nifty and Bank Nifty have held on to their opening gains and are now going higher. Today is weekly expiry, so you just might see another strong bout of short covering coming in. Avinash, your first thoughts on this wonderful market open that we've seen on Thursday. Where do you think the trade should go for today, and anything that catches your fancy in today's market?
I think Shail, today's opening has been on expected lines. I think the next sector which I think could look interesting is the PSU banking space. I think a lot of time this sector had underperformed. But if we look at the PSU stocks, I think we feel that there's a lot of intrinsic value lying to be yet uncovered by investors, specifically in stocks like State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, the larger housing finance companies like Canfin Homes, or even a stock like PNB Housing. One should keep a watch on such companies because our belief is that valuations are still in favor of investors. The risk reward looks pretty attractive, and I think if one were to take the next 6 to 12 months time horizon, we are going to see a lot of traction in terms of business, in terms of the profitability from all these companies. In fact, the banks and the housing finance space, according to me, are going to be very strong performers for FY24. So I think it's a pick and choose market. You need to be a little careful, but I think
Right.
any tip should be used as a opportunity.
So Avinash, sticking with you, pick one bank in the PSU banking space which is not State Bank of India, and pick one strong candidate from the PSU NBFC space.
I think PSU NBFC space, I would believe, honestly, on the NBFC side, we are more positive on the private sector kind of, category shell. More importantly, from the PSU side, one sector which I missed out telling you in the morning was power generation. I think we are very positive on NTPC, NHPC. Our sense is, these are the stocks which I think one should keep a closer look because earnings traction is going to be very solid. From the NBFC space, we still believe the older, companies like Poonawalla Finance or maybe a Bajaj Finance still are not, that bad. I think there has been some, some reports going on that Geo Financial getting listed is going to disrupt their businesses very soon. But I think it's not going to happen in a hurry. Our sense is that Geo definitely has its own kind of target audience which it would cater to. But Poonawalla Finance and Bajaj Finance, if at all they do correct, I think it's a good opportunity to accumulate even these companies because earnings traction is going to be pretty solid. And I think in terms of the consumption, in terms of the NBFC space, the scalability to grow their businesses over the next 1 or 2 years is quite significant. So I think one is to be very careful, at the same time very selective now. markets have risen significantly. So you got to be very selective on the larger names where I think scalability and the safety of capital is very important.
Okay, absolutely, Avinash. And let's talk about Coforge as well. We should pull up that stock for you. It's up around 2% on the back of the news. And the news is that the promoter barring PE through its affiliate Hulst PV is likely to sell its entire stake in this company through block deals. And this is according to some reports. So we are seeing the action coming in on this particular counter. So what are your thoughts when it comes to Coforge, Avinash?
No, I think this deal which Baring is going to execute may exert a little bit of short-term pressure on the stock, but longer term we are quite positive on the company. Our belief is that once this deal is complete and we know which investors get in after the Baring sell-off, I would not be surprised that you could see a significant amount of re-rating here, considering the fact that the company is sitting on a reasonably good order book. And I think our sense is that second half of FY24 we'll see a stronger traction in both the revenue as well as profitability margin. So I think a short-term kind of weakness in the stock should be used as an opportunity to accumulate the stock if you have a time horizon of at least 12 to 15 months going forward.
Right, 9:27. The market is now gathering momentum. Nifty is 100 points higher, 19,545. Remember, today is the weekly expiry, a gap up here, and we've seen a lot of pain over the last 3 odd weeks. So maybe some bout of short covering is still to go, and let's see how the rest of the day pans out. Coming back to Rajesh. Rajesh, the best bank that looks to you on the charts, Nifty Bank is now hit a triple century, up 300 at 44,775.
So Bandhan Bank we already mentioned, but now another two bank which I like after this today's opening. First is IndusInd Bank. After a consolidation of last 5-6 trading session, now stock is breaking out, and now stock is holding 1400 level comfortably. So looking at the setup for IndusInd Bank, we expect that this rally can extend, and possibly 1450, 1460 could be the immediate target on the stock. So one can buy IndusInd Bank with stop loss of 1402. And the second stock which we like, that is RBL Bank. Very strong buying action in the last trading session throughout the day. And again, the follow-up buying is taking place after today's opening also. So RBL Bank is looking promising, and the kind of setup which we are seeing on the daily chart, stock is comfortably now holding about 20-day moving average. The kind of long build-up was there in previous session. It clearly indicates that this stock can really further higher towards 245, 250 also. So RBL Bank is buy with stop loss of 229. So three bank which we like: Bandhan Bank, IndusInd Bank, and RBL Bank. These three bank can be looked at for near-term trading perspective.
Okay, we are just several seconds short to 9:30, and the first 15-minute candle both on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty will be formed. Remember, the high and the low of this candle will be used either for extending long positions beyond the high or keeping the low as the stop loss for the trade today. So let's see where the first 15-minute candle ends for the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. That will be critical. But for the moment, let's look at stocks that are taking it away. Avinash, coming to you, Bharat Forge, the record high, again a defense play, and again something that's happening fabulously well over the last 2 or 3 months. 725 and now above 1000 at a record high. What do you think about Bharat Forge?
I think Shail, Bharat Forge seems to be well positioned now on the defense vertical. In fact, they were already known, for auto components, the chassis components as well as the engine components categories. But now they've invested a lot of money and capital in defense. In fact, they have developed India's first artillery gun. And my sense is that there could be a huge scalability benefit for this product, which the company has developed indigenously. More importantly, our sense is that the company has entered into a space where competition is limited, where the margins are attractive. And I think over the next, say, 1 to 2 years, you're going to see a lot of order built up coming in from the defense segment. So I think even at 1000 odd rupees, if one were to take a 2-year view, I think definitely earning visibility looks pretty solid. and I think the stock could definitely outperform over a period of time. So I think definitely a buy on decline. But even at the current odd levels, if one were to buy, one could definitely expect a reasonable risk reward going ahead.
Okay, absolutely. And let's pull up Max Financial Services
Right,
for
Rajesh,
you.
any view? Right, Tanya, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I was saying Max Financial Services, we should pull up this stock as well. So the stock had 1.12 crore shares or 3.6% of the total equity exchange hands in a large trade which took place in the pre-market block window, and the shares exchange hands at an average price of 883 rupees. Buyers and sellers of course are not known, but coming to you Mr. Palvia, it is one of the top gainers from the mid cap space, up around 4% as we speak. 915 is the level, but what do the technical charts suggest for this particular counter?
So if you pull up the weekly chart, stock managed to give breakout of its rounding bottom formation on the weekly chart, and clearly this rounding bottom formation breakout is indicating that now if stocks manage to hold 880 level on a weekly closing basis, then possibly the next target for stock on the higher side towards 1000 also. So very strong buying action since last 3 weeks. Stock is showing good accumulation activity, and the multiple supply zone breakout on the weekly chart is clearly indicating that this stock should be hold for positional basis for upside target of 1000. Your stop loss should be around 880.
Okay, absolutely, Mr. Palvin. Let's talk about Escorts Kubota as well. We have been, talking about this stock, and the stock is as record high as we speak. And it is one of the top, it is actually the top auto gainer from the FNO space, and it's up around 18% in August expiry as well. So what do the technical charts now suggest for Escorts?
So stock is in blue sky territory. There is no stoppage. There is no supply zone for the Escort Kubota, and the kind of traction which we are seeing even at the higher price on the buying side is clearly indicates that buyer interest is still there in the stock, and possibly this stock can move further higher towards 3000 level also in the continuation of this uptrend. So hold your long position, trail your stop loss on higher side. 828 to 90 should be your stop loss now. 3000 is the immediate target where stock can move further higher.
Okay, let's take a quick technical check on Birla Soft as well. Birla Soft, let's pull up this stock for you. It's up around 17% in the August expiry, and it is actually the top software gainer as well. So what do the technical charts suggest for Birla Soft, Mr. Palvia?
So Birla Soft is one of the outperforming stocks from the mid-cap IT space, and the kind of traction which we are seeing in the stock, the series of higher top, higher bottom formation on the weekly chart, stock is clearly moving in upsloping channel, which clearly indicates that there is a sustained uptrend for the stock. The kind of accumulation and the kind of open interest which we have witnessed throughout the series is clearly indicating that this stock can continue furthermore, and possibly on a positional basis, 500 is the immediate target. So hold your long position. 466 is your trailing stop loss. 500, 510 is the possible target for the stock on the high side.
Okay, absolutely. And Avinash, I want to come to you as well for Birla Soft. Where do you see this stock headed in the near term?
I think in terms of the the quarter one performance and in terms of the trajectory going forward, I would believe that this is one stock where one could see a significant amount of re-rating over the medium to longer term. I think the management has been very positive. The numbers have also been quite reassuring. So my sense is, I think despite the fact that there are significant headwinds in the IT space, the company enjoys a decent order book, and I think you could see a further traction in the second half of FY24. Hopefully, when the headwinds from US and Europe subside. So my sense is investors who are holding on to the stock should hold on. Any dip could be used as a good opportunity to accumulate further, but yes, keep a slightly longer time horizon to get a better risk reward.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:35. So the first 15-20 minutes of this blowout after party have settled in the markets. Let's focus on Rajesh and technical charts for a while. Rajesh, over to you. Firstly, the first 15-minute candle on the Nifty is formed now, and there is resilience in the market. We've seen a price point of about 19,550 on weekly expiry day, a 100-point rally, 0.5% higher. Your view on the Nifty for the day?
So yes, some short covering is taking place as we are comfortably holding 19,500 and looking at the data for last 15 minutes, it clearly indicates that this rally can extend towards 19,600 as we are projecting this level for today's session. But for expiry point of view, we still feel that expiry can settle around 19,550 zone also. So if at all you get any chance towards 19,600, intraday trader may book profits around those level. There is a possibility because very strong call writing activity is taking place around those level. So 19,600 may act as a supply zone for the during the day. So book profits around 19,600. And now those who are already in the long side of trade, they can now trail their stop loss at 19,510. 19,510 should be your stop loss now to hold position for another 40-50 point up move from the current level. Shailji, as we mentioned, that's Godrej property in the opening, the stock is doing good, and the kind of breakout which we are seeing and the traction which is there in the stock, that clearly shows that real estate space can be a sector where one can look at, and possibly this rally can extend during the day also.
Right. Actually, Rajesh भाई, सारा दिमाग और जो दिल है वो सिर्फ लगा हुआ है डिफेंस प्लेज में एंड स्टॉक्स that have moved because of the success of the moonshot. My very sincere apologies. We did not pay attention to Godrej Properties. Let's get that back on the screen and let me see what Godrej Properties is doing. Of course, it's the top gainer in the realty F&O space, 1.9% higher, and a 1% uptick in open interest. Remember, one of the strongest balance sheets that exist in the real estate space is that of Godrej Properties, and it's a beautiful swing trade on the daily chart. The most recent high was somewhere like 1773, which we saw in the last day of July, and after that a 3-week correction, and now over the last 4 days momentum is being chased on the long side. Very nice call, Rajesh bhai. Fabulous way that you look at charts, and your RBL Bank is also at days high. Remember, this was a technical call you gave, 235.90. Let's look at the F&O space. RBL Bank is the top gainer in the banking F&O space, 2% higher, 235.25, a 4.4% rise in open interest. So this is really good as far as the bulls are concerned, and fairly strong volume. Tanya, what's really interesting is that if you see the advanced decline ratio in the F&O space, only 15 stock futures are down and 167 are up. So the advanced decline is 10:1. That is the amount of short covering and bullish fervor which is coming back into the market. So this 15-minute uptick that you've seen on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty after a gap up, remember, is something to be watched out for the rest of the day, and the rest is short covering and long build up, because it's the weekly expiry. After 3-4 weeks of intense pain, we are back in the green, and I will not fail to mention repeatedly that the after party of yesterday's successful moonshot is actually on Dalal Street today. Tanya.
Absolutely, Shail. The after party continues, and I hope that it continues, going forward as well. But let's talk about some of the gainers only, Mr. Palvia, and Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports. If you see, these two stocks are among the top gainers from today's trading session. So if you could, quickly give us a technical check if it comes to Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports.
So there was a sharp profit taking in previous session, but again some recovery is taking place from the after today's opening. But still looking at the setup for Adani Enterprise, the immediate and the challenging level for the stock on the higher side is 2640. That is almost coincide with its 200-day moving average. So 2640 needs to cross to continue furthermore upside from the current level. As the stock has witnessed the sharp selling pressure in the previous session, that needs to absorb. So 2640, if it's processed, then again, buyer interest will come to the stock, and possibly then stock may again, move towards 2700 also. But till the time stock not crosses those level, it may remain in the consolidation range towards 2500 to 2640, the possible consolidation range for next one or two trading session for Adani Enterprise. For Adani Port, the setup is one notch better compared to Adani Enterprise. A very stable setup in terms of daily as well as on the weekly chart. Looking at the overall setup, stock is holding about all its near-term, short-term moving averages, and the kind of breakout which we have witnessed in the previous week, that clearly indicates that if stocks continues to hold above 820 level, then possibly Adani Port can scale up to the level of 860, 870. That is the immediate level to watch for on the higher side.
Okay, absolutely. And we are seeing some excitement around metals, although, in the expectation of a stimulus coming in from China. But the fact remains that the challenges in China are humongous, Mr. Palvia. But if we talk about metal sector right now, any stocks that you like from this particular space for the near term?
So from that space, NMDC is one stock where we are focusing, and we have already recommended to our customer clients also here at Axis. And the kind of breakout which we are witnessing on NMDC on the weekly chart, it indicates that if it's a hold above 118 level, then NMDC can scale up to the level of 134, 135 also on the higher side. Another stock that is MOIL is also there from the mid cap space, that has also shown good accumulation activity in last couple of weeks, and stock is almost on a verge of giving a breakout of its last 2 week consolidation. If stocks manages to cross about 222 level, then MOIL can also continue its uptrend, and then possibly 240 is the near term target where we can see for MOIL on the high side.
Okay, absolutely. And let's now shift our focus, to the latest debutant on the Lal Street, and that is TVS Supply Chain Solutions. So the stock listed at a mild premium. It listed at a premium of 5% at 207.05 rupees on the National Stock Exchange and 206 on the Bombay Stock Exchange. And we have the management with us. We have with us Mr. Ravi Vishwanathan, who is the Managing Director at TVS Supply Chain Solution. Mr. Vishwanathan, very good morning, and thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us here on Business Today Television. First of all, let me ask you about the listing only. I mean, how do you see the listing? And talking about your financials also, so how do you plan to scale your revenues higher, and what's the outlook for FY24?
All right. Firstly, thank you, and want to wish all your viewers. I want to also say that we're very happy with the listing. We want to welcome, on behalf of my 18,000 colleagues globally, the 61,000 investors to the family. But I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate the scientific fraternity of India for a historic day yesterday, the moon landing, and I want to congratulate ISRO and the entire scientific fraternity. I think it is a huge confidence booster for every Indian, and it will rub off on the industry. We couldn't have chosen a better day, and we are very proud and privileged to be listed in the stock exchange in India. Coming to your second part of the question, the outlook. I mean, our aspiration is to be amongst the global top 50 companies in the world. And that is the vision that is driving the entire workforce of TVS Supply Chain Solutions. We are looking at in the medium term to grow to about a $2.5 billion business with at least a 4% profit as we go forward. And that's the medium term outlook, and that's what we're working on. if you look at the business dynamics itself, if you look at the performance of the company in FY20, our revenues were about 6,600 crores, which grew to about 10,235 in the last 3 years. And the EBITDA also has grown from about 243 crores to 683 crores in the last 3 years. So all of the parameters are trending very well. And that's the reflection of the scale that we have built in the company. The company's platform is a solid platform built on domain, built on experience of working with very large customers globally, and building a technology platform, which is really what is driving this growth. And the scale is reflected on the fact that our top 5, top 10, top 20 customers are all growing in double digits. And our Fortune 500 customers have grown from about 50 2 years ago to about 72 in FY23. So I think that is a reflection of the platform and the ability for us to scale. And in a way, Tanya, I think it reflects on what our aspiration is and how we are gearing the platform to deliver this kind of growth over the next 5 years.
Right. Mr. Vishwanathan, welcome to Business Today Television. Let's speak broadly about the industry. Of course, logistics is the sector on which the entire country moves. You pull raw materials from one part of the country, put it into factories, and from there pick out the finished product and ensure that customers like us don't have waiting periods. Let's just analyze the broader sector. We've seen a fabulous network of highways that have been set up across the country, and because I travel so much on the road, I realized that a lot of multi-axle trucks, 16-wheelers, 32-wheelers are traveling these days on these highways, pointing out to the fact that the economy is doing really well. Can you share some anecdotal evidence or how your clients have increased business over the last 8-10 months? We've seen GST numbers coming out really well. E-way bill on a monthly basis is showing a strong traction. Share with us some granular details of how logistics is growing in the country.
I think it's a great observation that you have, Shailendra, and it is truly a reflection of the growth of the economy. And if I look at it from TVS Supply Chain Solutions perspective, anecdotally, I can tell you that the time it takes for us to move materials from, say, Delhi to, if you pick a point like Chennai, has probably reduced by about 300%. And that is really increasing the volume and the velocity at which we are able to deliver a faster and accelerated manufacturing, which is happening across the country. The second thing that we are seeing clearly is the shift of the manufacturing sector in its own velocity, given the fact that both Make in India and the PLI has really moved from rhetoric to action. And today, there are far more industries who are part of these programs. And what it means is that there is a significant expansion in the production supply, and therefore the production supply chain, which we represent, is seeing a significant growth. And that reflects in our numbers. If you look at the India business for us, the India business is growing at a significant differential velocity to that of the rest of the world. We are an Indian MNC which has operations across the globe, and the India business is growing very rapidly. India today is the second largest country for us after the UK, just 10 crores behind the UK revenue. So UK had a revenue of 3,036 crores last year, and India had a revenue of 3,026 crores. And that in many ways reflects what India is as an opportunity, what we are doing for our customers, and where we are seeing a lot of traction is the combination of both the ability for us to move things fast and also bring in significant amount of technology like the automatic storage and retrieval platforms and a whole lot of data analytics based technologies which are now being deployed in many of our solutioning for our customers in India and of course globally.
Taking this question further, Mr. Vishwanathan, which is the longest route that you cater to, and how much time has been shortened because of automated FASTag? better revenues and the e-way bill which is now electronic. If you can just share this data with us.
Right. So I just want to come back to our business model. So we are not in a point-to-point transport kind of a business, but we are an integrated transporter bringing in solutions which feed into the production line of our customers. And anecdotally, I can say that I don't know if I can tell you what our longest tract is, but I gave you an indication of the kind of efficiencies we are seeing thanks to the infrastructure elements like the ones that you mentioned, which is significantly bringing down travel times or transportation times by about 300%.
Okay, absolutely. And Mr. Vishwanathan, I was talking to a few experts about the future prospects and about the company, but I think you are the best person, so I would like to ask you that they mentioned that the company operates in a highly competitive industry and has reported losses in the past 2 years. So what is your outlook when it comes to profitability and margins going forward?
So absolutely, it is a very competitive segment, and it's a good thing when there is that kind of competition because it means there's a lot of industrial activity. The key thing for us is that if you look at our history from our inception to FY20, there has not been a single year of losses in the company. FY20 and 21 were difficult years. FY20 was something which we knew because we had made a host of acquisitions and there were consolidation costs which were coming in, and that was something which was planned. 21, of course, everybody knows was a COVID year. But if you look at it in FY22, we turned PBT positive again. In FY23, we were both PBT and PAT positive. So the company has significantly moved the pendulum back to towards profits. And I think where we are today, we are very confident of continuing on this journey.
Okay, absolutely. And I want you to talk about the global supply chain crisis also, because you mentioned about COVID years, and of course, some companies are still struggling when it comes to, supply chain crisis. So how do you plan to tackle?
I think I look at it this way that every crisis is an opportunity. There are opportunity, and our portfolio is really something which has I would say a natural hedge. So during the COVID time, we were able to significantly increase the volume of business or the businesses that we did in the freight side because the freight rates were significantly higher, and that's where we were driving value based on our ability to manage our supply side very efficiently for our customers. So we did see a sharp increase in our growth in the global freight business. And as the freight business started steadying and I would say the rates started declining, the rest of the portfolio started growing. And I think that's where the natural hedge in a business like ours. So if you look at our business, about 35% of the business is from the global forwarding business, and the rest is coming from different parts of the supply chain. And I think the portfolio mix gives us a very good balance. If you look at it from a supply chain disruption, yes, it was peak during the COVID time. Things are returning to normalcy. I think the semiconductor supply chain issues are probably, I wouldn't still say behind us, but definitely the winds are very strong and pushing it towards normalcy.
Okay. Lastly, Mr. Vishwanathan, there was a deal that happened with Centrica PLC of United Kingdom. So I know it's confidential, but if you could, touch upon that and give us a little bit information.
Sure. I think one of the big positives and differentiators of TVS Supply Chain Solutions is the strength of our customers and the customer centricity that we have. Our model is built on customer accounts. And like I said, the top 20 accounts have been growing very handsomely, and we continue to build on that platform. Centrica is part of that, large account strategy. It is a very large engagement. I can't tell you the value of the deal, but there were and let me just say that it's a 7-year plus deal, which means after 7 years, we have a look-in period of another 3 years. So I think it is something which is historic for us, and in many ways it serves an inflection point. What it is a combination of our domain capability encapsulated in our technology, all of which is homegrown, and a deployment at scale. Because today we are what we are doing for Centrica is a pan UK deployment, supporting over 9,000 engineers of our customer organization on a daily basis by managing the inventory at the optimal level and ensuring the integrated final mile delivery of all of these components for their daily installation, repair, and management of spares. So it is a very unique business. I think we have been able to win it against, I would say, global majors, and it's a significant step towards establishing ourselves as very close to a tier one capability in the supply chain side in UK and Europe.
Okay, so on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Mr. Vishwanathan, for sharing these wonderful insights with us and being with us here on Business Today Television, and all the very best for the coming quarters as well.
Thank you, Shailendra and Tanya.
Okay, so let's get back to the markets and see what the markets are doing at this point in time. And Sensex clearly up over 474 points as we speak. 65,900 mark. We have reclaimed that mark as we speak. And Nifty also up around 138 points. 19,577 is the level where we are at. So clearly, Shell after party continues on the Lal Street.
Unbelievable party happening here, Tanya. Let me just start with the index. Now the Nifty is gaining strength and momentum. 19,576 for you, 132 points higher. Remember, we had opened 80 points higher. So over the last 45 minutes, about 70 points have been added. Bank Nifty. The initial tick was 200 points a gap up, and now it's 415 points higher at 44,896. So the Bank Nifty is taking a shot at 45,000, and the Nifty is taking a shot at 19,600. Because this excitement that is there in the market is because of the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3 on the moon yesterday. A lot of companies on the listed space have performed this feat. Remember, the total size of the Chandrayaan module, the total project size was about 620 crores, but companies that are listed on the markets and have contributed to this success have probably added somewhere like a minimum of 25,000 crore rupees in market capitalization. And let me just show you a couple of those sectoral plays that may have contributed to this project success. Remember, some companies have come out with press releases, the others have not. This is a strategic mission, so we really cannot nail down what company X or company Y has done, but this is based on market innate intelligence of what has happened. Let's start with the infrastructure plays, and you've seen the chart of ABB coming up on your screen, as also Siemens. Remember, both these stocks are also in the F&O space, and this is the one that is rapidly rising. Siemens up 1.2%, 37.61. This is a German multinational that has been listed on Indian markets over the last 40 years and has built India's infrastructure, whether it's railways, defense, as also ISROs to some extent, and also ABB 1% higher, 43.53. The other stocks that are rising in the defense space and have definitely contributed to ISRO's moonshot are BEL and of course Hindustan Aeronautics. Both these companies are showing record highs. Some of the other stocks that I'd like to mark in this space are of course from the capital goods space, BHEL, a runaway rally happening on this stock over the last 4-5 days, and the stock at about 113, 114 on very, very heavy volumes today. Apart from that, also look at the capital goods space, look at Schneider Electric, 340, again record high. These are the stocks that are doing fantastically well today. In fact, there is an index called the Nifty infrastructure index. Our PCR will take a little bit of while to show that index to you because it's not normally tracked. It's at 6,064 at the day's high, and this one has about 31 companies in the index, and out of the 31 companies, stocks such as Siemens, as also Power Grid, BHEL, and NTPC and Gas Authority, all of them are 29 out of 31 stocks are up, so you can well make out the kind of rally that we are seeing in the infrastructure space. And while this rally continued over the last many weeks, but the successful moonshot has brought these companies back into the focus. Tanya.
Absolutely, Shail. Markets, completely celebrating the historic success of Chandrayaan 3 mission. And of course, it's all about the companies, that contributed towards this successful mission. And on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Shail, for sharing these, excellent data with us and being with us here on Business Today Television. So with that, it's time for me and my team to wrap up this episode, but you don't have to go away. You just have to stay tuned for all the latest market updates, and you have to get ready for our special series, Market Masters, as well, where market gurus reveal their investment strategies for a winning portfolio. So join us this Monday, that is 28th of August, with Ravi Dharamshi. He's the founder and MD and CIO at Value Quest Investment Advisors, to get his market insights and in-depth market analysis. You can also send in your queries to us on the number 730-3080-488. Questions will be taken live.